Hey besties, Monica Ferguson here and welcome to World Domination. This is a safe space for absolute legends who are bold enough and brave enough to go within, to recreate their belief system, to aim high, to chase their wildest dreams and become everything that they are destined to be. This is a space for people who are serious about growth, about healing. We talk about all things mind, body, spirit, and we have the courage to go further than most people even dare to dream. Welcome, let's get into it. Hey besties, welcome to this week's episode, which has been requested and I'm absolutely loving this. If you have requests, if you have specific things that are coming up, I would love to hear from you, hear about them from you. I've forgotten how to speak English, but that is all good. So I had a really beautiful conversation with a stunning human being a few weeks ago, and we were talking about relationships, we were talking about love, we were talking about self-sabotage, we were talking about how, our past trauma comes up and affects us now and we're not even aware of it. And she said, I would love an episode about this, about how we sabotage ourselves in love. And there are so many people that are hurting themselves over and over again because they don't understand what's going on. Okay, and I feel like this is such an important topic, and this is something that can literally change the direction of our entire lives, because our capacity to love and be loved is not even just about love, right? It's not about just romantic love. Think about the relationship that you have with your children, for example, how you love them, how you teach them to be loved by other people. Because the thing is that we can only love people as much as we love ourselves, but also we can only meet people as deeply as we have met ourselves. And most people are avoidant as fuck. Let's be honest. They avoid anything uncomfortable. They run from it the moment it gets real. And so this is why we see cycles repeat over and over again through families. Okay, like little recap, little mindset lesson. Okay, so in our mind, there's the conscious part and the subconscious part. Now, the conscious part is this 5% that I'm talking to you with. For you, it's the 5% that's listening, right? The 95% that is subconscious is the part of us that is responsible for our survival. Okay, so it remembers every single experience we've ever had because it's trying to keep us safe. It keeps your heart beating. It manages your temperature. It grows your hair. It digests your food. Every single thing that's happening unconsciously, it's going on. But it's also filtering your reality 100% of the time. So what you're seeing in your life is not the truth. It's what your mind thinks is important to you. And this might seem insane initially, but I want to understand why. Okay, if we look at this from a spiritual perspective, you could talk about the law of attraction, you could talk about like attracts like, right? That's true. Here's a psychological component. In your subconscious mind, there is a part of the brain called the reticular activating system. Now, this is basically like a filter, okay? And because our world is so busy, right? There are so many things happening all the time. There are literally millions of pieces of information that hit our brain at any given second. And our physical brain cannot process that much information. So the reticular activating system is like a funnel, right? Like a filter. So it's going, okay, I'm going to pick the most important things that I need to focus on. Now, how does it decide that? It's based on your beliefs. Now, where do your beliefs come from? Your experiences. So, think about this. If you were raised, I'm going to use money as an example for a second. If you were raised to believe that there's never enough, if you were raised in poverty, I was raised in poverty. We had no running water in my house. We didn't even have a staircase. I had a ladder that I had to climb up to go to bed. Okay. So How do you think that impacted my belief system around money? Okay. And because the subconscious mind is focused on safety and it feels safe in the familiar. So actual safety is money, right? Having resources, having money is abundance. That is safety. But the subconscious mind is responsible for our survival. So it feels safer in situations that we have lived in already because it knows how to keep us alive and safe in those circumstances. The version of me that has a lot of money, like that took a while, right? Because my mind, my subconscious mind felt safer in poverty because it was familiar, right? So where this comes in is my reticular activating system sought out poverty. It sought out not having enough, barely surviving, struggle, because that felt familiar. So my external world then was just like things not working out, dead ends, like barely surviving, struggle, lack, poverty, fear, until I started to learn this stuff. And I realized, holy shit, man, I've literally, my mind is programmed for lack. And so that's all I'm seeing. And so when I started shifting my focus into looking for abundance, guess what? I started to find it. And the more that I found it, the more that I train my brain to find more, because our reticular activating system is looking for what we believe is true, what we're focusing on. So when I started focusing on abundance, things that I could be grateful for, when I actually started looking at, is it actually true that I'm in scarcity? No, but I feel like I am, but I'm actually not. And so when I started to really sit with and challenge these beliefs, I started to find evidence of abundance. And then the more that you think that way, the more it comes to you, the more evidence you have, the easier it is, right? Now, if we look at this in terms of love, right? So our subconscious mind is formed from 0 to 7 years old. So if you think back to your childhood, what were you taught about love in those formative years? And I don't mean just explicitly taught, like not just what you were told, but what did you observe in your home, your parents, right? Were they people that were able to be vulnerable and open, and they expressed emotion and they expressed gratitude and they verbally told you every day how much they loved you? Or were your parents even together, or were they not? Did you observe war in your home? Because from 0 to 7, that's what you learned is safe. Your subconscious learned, right? And I don't mean that like it's not actually safe, but what I want you to start thinking about this in terms of your subconscious mind is looking for safety all the time, right? So if you were raised in a home that was war, you learned that war is love. And so your mind is going to keep, your reticular activating system and your subconscious mind is going to keep seeking out that everywhere you go. You will literally filter out healthy love because you are looking for the familiar, which is war. This is how cycles repeat, right? And then what happens is then we create a whole identity around it. We say, oh my God, everyone treats me like this. I must not be worthy. I must not be good enough. I must not be deserving. And so then we have this whole internal story and narrative programming our mind for more of what we don't want. And this is why I use the term safety so much, because when we can step back and observe the patterns and the stories and the beliefs that are running in our mind from a perspective of what does my body feel is safe, instead of viewing things like a moral failure. I hate shame. I despise it with a passion. And I see so much of this bullshit in, quote unquote, personal development spaces where it's like, well, if this is happening to you, like it's your fault, really harsh, like no one's coming to save you. You need to get over it. You need to step up. You need to hustle, all this sort of bullshit, which is just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous because your subconscious mind is 95% of your mind, which means that your beliefs, your feelings, your actions, your thoughts, 95% of it is unconscious. It's in the background. It's running without your awareness. And this is why my entire world is about teaching you how to overcome and how to master, like how to work with your subconscious mind, right? Because this is the thing that will change everything. Okay. So when it comes to love, right? Let's say you were raised in a home that was war, or whatever your circumstances are, right? It's going to be different for everyone. But for most of us, we weren't taught that we are lovable and worthy and deserving. We had parents that hadn't done the work on themselves. And so we inherited a belief system from them based on their fear, their trauma, their feelings of unworthiness. They were not conscious. And the issue for us is that has become our operating system. And if we were lucky enough to be raised with incredible parents who taught us how worthy and amazing we are and how deserving we are, then we're going to have a vastly different experience in love than those who were given, a belief system that said not worthy, not good enough, burden, love is not safe, letting people in is not safe. Okay, so I want to speak about two different aspects to this, to love and relationships, okay? Because there are the people that hold on to the wrong love, and then there are the people who sabotage the good love when it tries to get in, okay? And at the root, though, is the exact same thing, and it is our subconscious belief system. Every single thing comes back to our subconscious mind, bestie. It is that simple. It's not easy, but it is that simple. So if you look at the patterns that are occurring in your life, right? So if you fit in the first group, if you're someone who holds on to the wrong love, holds on to people who do not make you feel good, who disrespect you, who treat you like shit, who don't put you first, why are you holding on? Because we can go down into your subconscious and identify why. And it's going to be you're afraid to leave. So there'll be like a fear of abandonment, fear of being alone, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, afraid that no one better is going to come. Something like that. So that's a self-worth issue, right? And so underneath all of this is unfelt trauma, pain, grief. Because the thing is that when we actually have the courage to really look at what is going on within us, like, why am I doing that? Why am I staying with this person who treats me like shit? It makes me miserable. Why am I actually doing that? There is a part of you that feels safe for you to stay in that situation. And that's the part of you at a subconscious level that learned that you're not worthy. And when I say learned, I mean got taught, right? Through lived experience. This is not true. Every single one of you is worthy beyond measure. But there is a part of you that got taught at some point in your life that you're not worthy, that you don't deserve more, that love is not safe, that people leave and don't come back, that you have to hold on or else you get abandoned, whatever it is. All of these sorts of stories run our lives if we do not address them. And then we get obsessed with the external, right? We look at these people and we go, why do they do this? They do this, they do this, they do this. Okay, but why are you staying? And I say that with so much love. Believe you me, I've been here so many times. I speak this from experience. And these are the direct questions that will literally liberate you, because you were not put here to be treated like shit by someone that actually didn't deserve you. Because if someone's treating you like you don't matter, they're not making you a priority, they're not like falling over themselves with gratitude that they get to come home to you, they do not deserve you. It is a privilege to be in your life. It is a privilege to be loved by you. Think about how much you bring. How much love, how much kindness, how much empathy, how much support. It is a privilege to be loved by you. This is something that should not be given out to everyone, okay? But because the 95% of your mind is running you, you're going to see. You're going to see whatever you actually believe deep down, whatever you feel safe with is what you're going to see in your lived experience, okay? You can know that you're worthy and still be staying with someone that's toxic as hell. Okay, and this actually happened to me. This was the start of my journey about 7 years ago. I had just come out of my marriage. I had walked away, which was the start of everything for me. And I had immediately ended up in a situation with a really toxic narcissist, like just despicable human being. And I was in a hotel room with him, and I had this weird, like, out of body experience where it was like I saw myself clearly, and I realized that I had become my mother. I had ended up in abusive, domestic, violent, potentially situations, and I was like, how the hell did I get here? Because I know better, right? I was in this moment where I literally thought, oh my God, he's going to hit me. And it was the first time that I'd ever been in a situation like that. And I was just like, how did I get here? Because I know better. I know self-worth. I know that I'm worthy. But my subconscious didn't, right? Consciously, I knew that I was worthy. My subconscious knew domestic violence, narcissism, abuse, toxicity. It felt like I was a burden, like I wasn't good enough. I had all these fears about abandonment and rejection. And so my unconscious had led me to that situation because that reflected what my subconscious felt familiar with, okay? This was the turning point, and I went, fuck this. This is not going to be my life. And I left. That was literally the turning point for me. And then I got so obsessed with this work and deconstructing my belief system, my subconscious, so that I never ended up in a situation like that again, because my subconscious had led me there, okay? So, as usual, it's courage that we need, right? It's courage to sit with ourselves and actually ask ourselves the tough questions. Why am I holding on to someone who treats me like shit? Why am I holding on to someone who treats me so badly, right? And allow the truth to come up, because I'm afraid of being alone, because I'm scared that no one else will come, because I don't think that I can get anyone better. Whatever it is, have the courage to allow that to come up and for you to sit with that and feel it and process it, because it's actually like a real opportunity for you to love on yourself, because that came from somewhere, right? If you actually feel like that, someone at some point taught you, and probably your parents, that you weren't lovable as you are, which is absolutely inaccurate. But it's like, it requires your compassion, right? It requires you to show up and re-parent your little self and love on them and treat them with the love and the protection and the respect that they deserve and always deserved, okay? So, and then you start to decide, what do I actually want for my life? Is this what I actually want? And am I willing to waste time with the wrong person because I don't want to be uncomfortable? Am I willing to waste my one life on someone that does not make me happy, does not treat me with love and respect, because I'm avoiding the discomfort of what it would mean to let go? Or am I actually going to show up for myself and move through the discomfort, no matter how hard it is, because I actually know that I'm worthy of real love? And there's a dating coach, his name is Matthew Hussey, and he said something once that I'll never forget. He said that when you meet the right person, you're going to wish that you had more time with them. And that has actually driven so many of my choices. When I think, like, I don't want to waste a second with the wrong person. You know, I don't want to waste a second with the wrong people. I want as much time as possible with the ones that actually love and honor me and respect me and like pour into me, right? And that's why I let go of people that are not treating me like that. Okay, so that's our first version, the people that hold on to the wrong ones. There's pain, grief, trauma, uncomfortable stuff running under the surface that we're avoiding. Okay. And so it is time for us to have the courage to love ourselves properly and actually look at what's going on and then decide who we want to be, what we're going to tolerate moving forward, and then acting on that. So if we have to end relationships, we're going to do that. If we have to learn new skills, we're going to do that. If we have to take on new habits, we're going to do that because we owe it to ourselves to love ourselves fully. Right? You're the most important person in your life. Are you treating yourself with love and respect? Are you expecting other people to treat you that way, but you're not doing it for yourself? Okay? So then we've got our second person. And this is the person that I was for a long time. The person that couldn't let love in. And so when healthy people would show up, we couldn't actually let it in because it's the same thing, right? It's the same subconscious programming, but we have a bunch of fear and beliefs and stories that do not feel safe to let love in. So again, if we zoom out, what were we taught from 0 to 7? Because that's when our subconscious mind, our program was created. So for me, I was raised in domestic violence, poverty. I was made to feel like a worthless piece of shit and a burden my whole life. So in psychology, there is attachment styles, right? You guys might know about this. We often hear about anxious attachers. So people that are really anxious and they have this rap for like being clingy or needy or whatever and holding on. And then you've got the avoidance, right? Now, I was what is called fearful avoidant. So a fearful avoidant is someone that has both the anxious side and the avoidant side. And where this comes from is that we crave love, but we learned that it wasn't safe. And so that's what happens when you have a parent who wasn't safe or who was forced you to walk around on eggshells, that sometimes you got love, sometimes it was taken away. So we consciously really, really want connection and love, but our subconscious learned it is not safe. And so what do you think happens when we get into the ring, we start dating, we even just, are building like loving, like close friendships? Our subconscious starts going off, right? Alarm, alert, like people are getting close. Therefore, there is incoming danger. We're not safe. And so that's when our body will go into fight or flight. I'm like, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. And so what we need to do, it's the exact same process, okay, where we zoom out and we're looking at what is going on deep down within me. What do I really believe about love? Do I feel safe? No. Okay, so why not? What are the stories and the beliefs that I have about love? And then we have the courage to just express what is really there without judgment, without shaming ourselves, without saying, oh, no, I need to be positive. No, we're not going to bypass. We're not going to avoid. This is us finally giving ourselves a chance to be heard, which we probably didn't get as a little kid, which is why we are in this situation. This is the opportunity for us to love on ourselves, to hold ourselves with so much compassion, right? And this, where even now, it makes me want to cry when I think about it, because when we start sitting with this stuff and you start realizing, oh my God, like I learned to fear love because I was, every single adult in my life failed me. Every single adult in my life made me feel worthless and unchosen. They abandoned me when I needed them. They taught me that love was conditional, that I wasn't good enough. Like, that is devastating. And this is the the feelings and the grief that need to be witnessed and felt and honored and processed. Because you can imagine, when I started letting myself feel those feelings and I started honoring myself and allowing myself to grieve and to process and to feel, I started to realize that, oh my God, I'm actually worthy. And I always was. I just was taught that I wasn't. And so when we make these unconscious stories conscious, they're not controlling us anymore. And this is the work. So it doesn't mean that we're perfect after that, but what it means is we have the awareness and therefore we have a choice. It's not just blindly running in the background, right? Like we can actually say, okay, here's this person that, is not treating me the way that I want to be treated. So like, I'm actually going to remove myself. Or on the flip side, if you run more avoidant, it's, here's this person that's actually showing up and being consistent, and I feel really uncomfortable in the unknown because I learned that love wasn't safe, but I'm going to choose to stay. I'm going to choose not to sabotage. I'm going to choose not to run away. I'm going to choose to tell this person, hey, I'm feeling like really scared because I feel really overwhelmed, but I thought that I'd tell you instead of run away. And we're going to go deep into self-love. We're going to use things like EFT, tapping, right? Emotional freedom technique to actually move through the discomfort, the anxiety, the fear. We're going to journal our feelings. We're going to meditate and sit with ourselves. We're going to hire me as a coach so I can help you go through this, or go through any of my self-study programs that will help you to actually uncover the root and express it and move through it, right? We're going to do whatever we need to do. Go dance, go box, go journal and then burn it. Whatever is required for us to actually process the fear and the feelings and the grief and create that safety in the body. And this is repetition, right? The body needs repetition to feel safe. Repeated experiences of feeling safe. But the thing is that when our subconscious is running the show, it will convince us of things that aren't even true. We will be able to find fault in people that doesn't even exist because we will project our own fear onto them. And this is why it's just so, so, so important that we can zoom out and understand, like, what is going on within us? Why do I sabotage things? And also, I just want to add here, self-sabotage, I actually hate that phrase. I'm just using it because that's one that people understand. But it's really self-protection, okay? Because when you understand that your subconscious mind is always trying to keep you safe based on what it thinks is safe, that's what's actually going on. So your behavior and your actions are coming from the place within you that's trying to keep you safe. Now, often that isn't actually serving us the way that we want. But you're not a failure. You're not a self-sabotaging, weak, none of that shit. That shame language, we're not doing that. It's literally just the part of you that has been unconscious, that's been trying to keep you safe. And now you get to shine a light on all of these parts of yourself that have been running in the background and liberate yourself, making them conscious, honoring yourself the way that maybe your parents didn't honor you. Allowing yourself to feel and grieve and release and process, and then you get to be intentional about what kind of love you want, what kind of relationships you want. And you can also be really honest with yourself about where you may have been running from love. Because why? Well, any number of reasons, right? But it's always coming from our subconscious. This is the key, besties. This is the key to everything. Because when you can allow yourself to receive, when you can create safety in your body, which is not easy, by the way, but this is why I have all these other episodes so you can listen. Go and listen to the ones about overcoming fear and stuff like that, because there's so much more in that I'm going to put in this episode. But when you can actually go through that process of becoming, of releasing who you were and becoming who you really are, stripping back all the stories and the versions and the identities that are not actually true, things that you have learned that you get to unlearn because they were other people's shitty projections that they put onto you. This is where you free yourself. And imagine the version of you that can love fully and receive love. Imagine what kind of a parent you will be, what kind of a friend you will be, what kind of a partner you will be, how much joy you will get from your life. And then think about your work, right? Your business, the impact that you want to make. When you can show up in an open-hearted way, how much impact do you think you'll be able to have when you can allow yourself to be seen and vulnerable and not sabotage because you're uncomfortable? When you can catch yourself when you feel triggered, instead of projecting it out, you can actually sit with yourself and say, oh, what's coming up for me? That version of you could rule the world and will rule the world. You are not hearing this by accident. So besties, if you want more support with this, there are many things that I can do to help. Firstly, there are so many podcasts, right, around actually how to navigate the fear, the unworthiness, how to process all those things. So go and check out my other episodes. I also have guided meditations, which can also really help you. I have my I Am Worthy Beyond Measure hypnosis that you can buy now in my online store, which speaks to the subconscious, right? It goes in at the subconscious level to teach you that you're safe, that you're worthy, and that you're lovable. And this is the repetition that your subconscious needs to actually take on a new belief, okay? Then there's my Untamed Self-Study Journaling program, and of course my one-on-one stuff. There's so many things. Go to my website, check it out, or flick me a DM, and I would love to support you on this. I'm so proud of you. See you next time. And that is a wrap. Thank you for showing up for yourself, for being here, and please let me know your aha moments. I want to hear all about them. For extra support, make sure you're following me on TikTok and Instagram at @TheMonicaFerguson. Check out the School of Greatness for self-study courses. And of course, if you want one-on-one mentoring, just DM me and I would love to have a chat with you. Go and slay the day. Thank you for being you. See you soon.